Hello, the vinyl community. It was a very long time since I did a jazz movie and showed some jazz records, and I thought that since it's been a very hot and sunny day today in Sweden, very nice and warm spring day, I thought it was a good thing to cool things off here by showing some cool piano records. As I said in a previous video that I made with jazz records, piano is one of my absolute favorite instruments in jazz. Because you can do so much with it in the jazz. You can both have it as an excellent background. It builds up the rhythm much in the jazz orchestra, and it also is a perfect solo instrument, and it's a so relaxing tune in the piano. So I buy a lot of piano jazz music, and thought I was going to do a little special when I showed some of the most legendary jazz pianists and their records that I have bought through the years. Starting off with the guy that is in the background, one of my absolute favorites. I'm not going to show my entire collection with them, but some of my favorites, of course, this is Oscar Peterson from the album Tracks. Oscar Peterson didn't release that much solo albums, but this is an exception. This is released on the German label MPS. He released a lot of records at that German label in the 60s and the 70s. And this is a great album that I found on the second-hand store very sudden. I was very shocked to find it, actually. I thought it was the Red Cross here in Sundsvall. More Oscar Peterson, and here it comes to one of his most legendary record series. I'm sure that some of you already have this one, but it's a great series. Of course, I mean Night Train, the Oscar Peterson Trio. This is number one, and maybe the best one, released on Verve in 1962. And we have Night Train Volume 2. I don't have number 3, unfortunately, but I have number 4. Hopefully I will have number 3 one day. Here is a very interesting record. This is in concert. This is Herb Ellis on guitar and Ray Brown on bass. Released on Carousel. Turn him down a little bit. This is a great concert nonetheless, consisting 6 tracks, and on the other one side is Barney Kessel guitar. But it is a great concert. Oscar Peterson plays very great on this in this concert. Here is another one that I found on second-hand store that I was very happy to find. This is a very special duet between Count Basie and Oscar Peterson, and we have Louis Bellson and John Hurt also here. This is released on Pablo in 1978. It's released in 1986, but it's recorded in 78. Very great and interesting combination of two pianists. One who is himself had said that he is no solo pianist. Count Basie had said that once, and I think that he is a great big band leader, but maybe not the best pianist. Oscar Peterson, on the other hand, is a marvelous piano player, so it's a very interesting meeting. Moving on to another interesting pianist I don't have just as much with, but still he's a good one, Errol Garner. This is a live concert released on Fontana, the Amsterdam concert, live recording at the Concertgebouw in Amsterdam in 1964. Also we have here drummer Kelly Martin and bassist Eddie Calhoun. Here is a very interesting CD with Errol Garner that I found on Ginsa, I think it was. You can buy CDs online. A Swedish record store, or most should I say nowadays multimedia store. This is the CD Errol Garner, Solo New York, 1944 to 45. This is released on Acrobat Music and Media Limited. in 2002. The interesting here is that this is actually, most of the part is a radio show that it takes place in. You can hear them talking on the radio. It does an interview also here, and then it plays, and it is very, very interesting CD that I am very much. Moving on to a pianist that I think is a good pianist when it comes to being in the background, but I think he's a good pianist when it comes to solos also, but maybe not my absolute favorites. Maybe I have a little hard time listening to his when he mumbles in the background. I'm talking about Bud Powell. But he's a marvelous pianist behind guys like Miles Davis and Charlie Parker. The Invisible Cage, this is from 1964. This one I had first it's a copy on cassette actually, but then I managed to get hold of this vinyl copy. Here is a very interesting pianist that I don't have that much record with. I have two of them. But on the other hand, I have several of records with him when he is a conductor of classical music. So it's a very interesting musician that can move so well between being in classical music and on the other hand also be a good jazz pianist. He's not the best pianist that I ever heard, but he's an okay pianist. I'm talking about Andre Previn. This is Previn at the Sunset, with the record that I bought at Slussen in Stockholm. This is recordings from 1945 and 46, and it's a great. This Sunset in Blue, great song. All the Things You Are, always a great song. This is a very interesting concert. It's very interesting album, I was going to say. He is pending somewhere between Art Tatum and Teddy Wilson sometimes, and even though he's not just as good as those two, but he's a very interesting pianist nonetheless, and I think it's deserved to be played a lot more. I mentioned Art Tatum, and I also mentioned in the previous jazz clip that he is one of another of my absolute favorite jazz pianists, and I have a lot of Art Tatum records. I'm not going to show them all here either. I think I showed the Masters of Jazz album in my previous clip. My favorite first Art Tatum record. Here's another one that I found in Stockholm, the Art Tatum collection. Now this one is released on Deja Vu label, and it may look like an ordinary collection, but it consists also so many songs that I didn't have before that I thought was very new to me. The Japanese Sandman, we have Taboo, we have She's Funny That Way. I haven't heard it without Tatum. Very interesting album actually. Here is a very interesting one. This is unfortunately a sticker here, but it's Art Tatum Live Sessions 1940-41, released on Jazz Anthology, that releases a lot of interesting live concerts. This is a solo with Art Tatum. Consists of some of these normal songs, Sweet Lorraine and then Fine and Dandy, but still it's live, and I am a huge sucker for live jazz, and especially when it's this magnificent pianist. I really huge fan of Art Tatum. He's a marvelous playing, being blind and play so fast and so fantastic. Here's another live concert that I was also very happy to find. Unfortunately, this is a cutout, but this is G. Norman present Art Tatum at the piano, Volume 1. Now we're moving on to another great pianist that I like very, very much. A little more swing, a little earlier jazz. I'm talking about Teddy Wilson. I have a lot of Teddy Wilson records. I'm going to show a couple of them. Teddy Wilson Piano Solos. This is a French release. French release from CBS, a recording from 1935 to 1937, bought at the Sunset Record Fair a couple of years ago. Teddy Wilson plays the greats. Teddy Wilson and his trio. And he plays here some of the great songs composed by jazz pianists. We have King Porter Stomp, Honeysuckle Rose, Fats Waller's Song, Duke Ellington, Sophisticated Lady, and so on. And also another of his own songs, Sunday Morning. This is a very interesting and very good Philips release. Teddy Wilson, Striding After Fats, released on Black Lion Records in 1974. He replaced Fats Waller songs. I'm not a huge fan of Fats Waller normally. He's a great pianist, but sometimes he tends to be a more comedy act than pianists. So I'm not that big Fats Waller fan. But no one can take away Fats Waller's perfection when it comes to being a composer. So you have, he's a great composer. So we have also here we have here Black and Blue, Handful of Keys, Ink Misbehaving, but also Blues for Thomas Waller is own composition by Teddy Wilson, where he salutes Fats Waller. Going to end with two CDs that I like very, very much. Here we have a very special one. I think I said in a previous clip that I'm not a huge fan of Duke Ellington. I like a lot of Duke Ellington's earliest big band recordings from the 20s and maybe the absolute earliest 30s. But most of Duke Ellington's big band records are that kind of songs that you hear everywhere, and I'm not too fond of his experimenting either. But this is a record that I by far think is the most interesting Duke Ellington record I have. This is released on Bluebird, the low-budget label from RCA, and this is Duke Ellington solos, duets, and trios, including all versions of the legendary Ellington and Blanton duets. It's not often you find Duke Ellington playing the piano all by himself. So you have some solo tracks here. You have concert where he does a duet with Earl Hines. You have, as I said, with a duet with Jimmy Blanton, and duets with Bill Strayhorn. So this is a very interesting record. Finishes up with a pianist that is sadly forgotten that I think is really, really good, but he isn't mentioned somewhere in other way than as a rhythm pianist for pop musicians. He played with some of the big ones, Miles Davis. He played with Charlie Parker, and but he also had released tracks of his own, songs of his recordings of his own. But those have been sadly forgotten. I'm talking about Dodo Marmarosa. This is a release on Jazz Classic Records. Up in Dodo's Room, Complete Dial Sessions, 1946 to 47. And this consists both recordings where he is a rhythm pianist. We have Charlie Parker's septet here. We have Howard McGhee sextet, also another sadly forgotten jazz musician, Howard McGhee. But we have piano solos. We have his trio here. We also have a very, very interesting composition called Tone Paintings 1 and 2. And those were songs that weren't supposed to be released, actually. He recorded it all by himself, for himself, but now they have released it. So this is a very interesting record. And with that, and with side number 1 being finished here with Bud Powell, no, with Oscar Peterson, I'm going to say that I hope you have a very nice weekend and beginning of next week. Hope to return soon with some more videos, and until next time, see you.